OuterOrange.
Hi, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to Orange Peels. So pretty much, as you guys may know, I'm really big into nerdy stuff. I just do nerdy stuff pretty much all the time, but I never really talk about it, as primarily I talk about Vanguard on my channel. So I wanted to make a dedicated series, a monthly dedicated series, where I talk about things I am currently obsessed with, and I'm gonna just do it every time, once a month, just things that I'm into that I just love and adore. And this month is this is the January video, and that's what we're going to be doing. And pretty much it could be anything. It could be an anime, it could be a book, it could be food. Give you guys like just a rating of like what my feels are about it and all that stuff. But I really thought this would be something fun to do and something to interact with you guys with, as I do a lot of Vanguard content, but there's just be one other thing that I can talk about. I always want to talk about things that I'm into, and I never really get the chance to, so this is the kind of the time where I can actually sit back and talk about it. So today we're going to talk about two main things and some bonus content here and there, just the stuff that I discovered a little bit earlier that I just kind of want to throw in there. First thing that I've been obsessed with like crazy is no other than SpiderMan. Holy crap. Why did I wait on this game? I don't know why I waited on this game. I have no idea why. This came out like 2-3 years ago, something like that. It came out in the same year that God of War came out, and I pretty much prioritized God of War because God of War was an absolutely amazing thrill ride of a game. But then this was also there around that time. It was right there. I was just kind of chilling with it. It was just like there, but same year, people were talking about this as much as they're talking about God of War. It was like Spider-Man, God of War, Red Dead Redemption. It was like the main three, right? And I pretty much just screwed the other two, and I was just like God of War because God of War. Like it's just... You know, like we've been waiting years for that game. But guys, Insomniac, you see this on this side? You see that? That's Insomniac right there. And I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank player, Ratchet and Clank lover, player, game person. These are the same people that created Spider-Man, and I'm over here holding off on this game like, oh, it's probably not gonna be that good because there's superheroes in it. Nothing against superheroes, by the way. I just kind of came through a point where I got a little oversaturated by superhero stuff, so I just needed a break. That's probably why I didn't really touch on Spider-Man, because I was like, man, there's a Spider-Man movies, there's Avengers, all this stuff was coming out like really close to each other, and then like My Hero Academia was a thing, and I was just like, man, there's just so much superhero stuff, I just need a break. So I played God of War, picked this game up. I got it on Black Friday, literally in November 2020. I finally started playing it. I've been playing with a friend of mine who's been coming over, playing together. Game is absolutely amazing. The story is really solid. It's pretty much just about Spider-Man after he becomes Spider-Man, and just kind of his like adventures and just like what happens to him. And there's a lot of like villains and things that are happening at once, and it keeps you really engrossed. The gameplay is absolutely thrilling. You can just the New York City that you explore in is just so massive and fun. It's not really massive. It's just there's so much to do in the little city that just keeps you engrossed. I would say it's just absolutely amazing. The music is really good. There is some points where some of the side missions can get kind of a little boring about like 70% of the game. You kind of see similar side missions towards the end, but honestly, other than that, the game is good. I'm about like 5 hours or so away from completing the story and pretty much being done. I'm at 82%. I'm really close. I'm probably gonna finish it tomorrow actually, because my friend's coming over, we're playing it together. He likes to watch, I like to play, so it's a good combination. Really great game. If you have literally nothing to do, or you're trying to pick up a game, or you're trying to find something to do and you just don't want to play Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever that whole news thing is going on about it, pick this game up. It's $20 and it's Game of the Year edition, which means you get all the DLC, you get all the extra stuff. It is so worth it. That's the best side 20 you're gonna throw on video games, at least currently. Like, it's definitely worth it. It's affordable, you get everything. It's not the $6 price. It's not the longest game on the planet, which is why this $20 price actually makes it even better. I recommend you pick it up. I don't want to spoil anything too bad, just go play it. It's worth it. It's by a production that knows what they're doing, so highly recommend it. Go get it. This game gets a 8 out of 10 orange peels. Yay! If you want to try something new, I think this game is a solid 8 out of 10. It has some like miniature stuff, but 8 out of 10. You get your orange peels. Spider-Man. Let's go. Okay, going on to my next thing that I've been really obsessing over. It's actually, I'll have an image over here. Fruits baskets. Holy crap. I'm a big shoujo person. I don't know what it is about shoujo, but there's a certain feeling that I get from shoujo that I just don't get from a lot of anime in general. By the way, Fruits Basket is an anime, just to make it clear for those who aren't aware. But I love shoujo. I've watched like literally everything, and I'm talking about strictly shoujo, not romance, like strictly shoujo. I know shoujo has romance in it, but I'm talking about shoujo based anime, because it is different from like anime with romance type of stuff. Like they have a different type of target audience experience a different feel about how they go through stories. They are a little different. They're similar, but there are differences. And I just want to make it clear, Fruits Basket is more on the shoujo side with a combination of slice of life, and it is absolutely breathtaking. The music, by the way, this is a reboot, so the original Fruits Basket is kind of bad. I'm sorry, but it gets like a 4 out of 10 orange peels for me. I've watched it, I've read the books, it's not the same. I know some people are try to defend it, and that's fine because it's not like terrible, but in comparison, especially to the reboot, like there's just no comparison. The reboot is definitely better. Some of my favorite beats, like just this. There are moments when like that would play and I'm like losing my shenanigans. It's called Zodiac. This is the full OST over here. And there are times where I'm just like, why is this just so amazing? And then the storytelling is just so good. Another also just amazing. I'm probably gonna lose like all my like any revenue that I could make, even though I don't make any revenue right now, but you know, I don't even care. They just have some, like especially later on here. I'm fine. This is fine. I can literally feel like my tears in my eyes. So it's hard to talk about the songs without knowing the premises of the story, but pretty much the story of Fruits Basket is like this girl who just lost her mom, and she's pretty much going through a pretty rough time with dealing with her mom. She actually does pretty well of a job dealing with her mother, but aside from that, her mom's gone. She needs to still keep her living her life. She wants to like pretty much live the life that her mom couldn't live, so she just kind of pursues, but she's literally in a forest and stuck in a tent pretty much the whole time. So over time, there's two guys in particular that find her tent, and they are part of this family they're called the Soma family, and they're little does she know, like they of course let her in, they let her stay there, all this fun stuff. It starts out very shoujo. This is like a very basic like typical anime, but then at the very end you kind of discover, this is episode 1 by the way, I'm not trying to spoil it too far, but episode 1 you discover that if she hugs them in any form or way, they turn into animals. They specifically Zodiac animals. They are all part of a Zodiac, primarily like the big main Chinese Zodiac thing, and each one of them, all the guys that are in there, and females, there's some females too, they all turn into animals, and they're all part of this like really big thing. I don't want to spoil what this big thing is, that's it's a main plot point in the actual series, but long story short, things get really tough. Like I can't exactly explain. This anime really tackles like inner feelings, like any feeling that you can feel, like this anime touches on it, and that's what's so absolutely breathtaking about this entire show. Like there are things that I wasn't even aware I had issues with until I watched this anime, and I was like, oh crap, like why do I do that? Like it made me start thinking about my life and my life choices and things I do, because I was able to actually relate to the characters, and that's just what's so just amazing. It's just a really well done job like explaining like how to deal with depression and family issues and being abandoned, or like feeling left out, or dealing with not being loved enough, or the opposite, being loved too much, or expressing feelings where they shouldn't be expressed, or dealing with, or even how to love. One of the main things that I got out of this show was actually the idea of knowing how to love somebody. I have been through some pretty rough relationships over the years, and up and down. I'm not going to go into it, but this show really helped me open up how to be more selfless and love the people that I have, and express things that I wasn't even aware of. There's actually a situation that happened in the anime that I was dealing with in real life, and like I watched the episode afterwards. I had a situation where I ran away from someone when I shouldn't have. Like they needed me most, and I chose to run away because that's just what I do. I have trouble dealing with emotions, and I just, instead of dealing with it face on, I tend to just run away, or instead I just explode like a volcano. Well, in the anime there was a very similar situation where they were comparing two girls, that there's one guy who has a really big problem, and the two girls primarily, one ran away, the other one chose to stay and figured out how to deal with it, you know, like she didn't run away. And the reason being is because there's a big secret that was pretty much exploited, and it's something that not everybody can deal with. But if you truly love a person and care about them and are selfless enough, you will go out and figure it out. You know, I'm not talking about like crazy stuff like, oh, I beat people up or anything like that. Of course, this one's more fantasy related, and in my perspective, this was something that person was just dealing with, like just an issue they were going through, and instead of like figuring it out, I just chose to run away. And this anime really opened that up. Like after the situation happened, I didn't really feel like I was at fault, and then after watching the anime, I watched it and I was just kind of like, wow, I am at fault. Like I didn't even get the perspective properly until I watched the anime, and it made me like realize that. And it's not just specifically this situation. I've done it in the past too, and the anime helped me open up like this perspective that I wasn't even aware of. And I know this sounds crazy. I know it's like really like you're really comparing your like lifestyle to like an anime lifestyle, like a shoujo anime, of all things. But like real talk, like, this anime really hits some deep topics. Like, this is one of those... This anime really hits some deep topics. This is one of those shows that you really need to, like, go in with an open mind. Like, accept what it tells you, accept how it teaches you, accept, like, what is coming at you. Because there's some old souls behind this show, I swear. Because they really open up things that you never even thought you needed to talk about. And that's why the show is just so... It's just great. It's very, very open to expressing emotions and human issues and interactions. There are some, of course, like fantasy elements to the show. Of course, you know, people turn to animals and all that stuff. But them dealing with all that stuff is extremely realistic. And the things that happened to these people, all the Zodiac members, and how they deal with everything is extremely, like, just amazing to watch and see how they just deal with it. Really, really great show. I don't want to spoil too much, as I really want people to go into this with no expectations. I went to the show with no expectations, even though I've seen the reboot, even though I've read the manga. I haven't. It's been such a long time since I've done that. I have a 10-year, almost 12-year difference since I've touched the manga or the original anime. So that's a long time to be away from the show, to where when I got into this one, I really went into it with an open mind. I do give it a 9 orange peels out of 10 orange peels. So yeah, Fruits Basket. If you played the SpiderMan game, or if you've watched or read the Fruits Basket, please feel free to comment below and tell me how you feel about it. We're into our bonus section now. So bonus, I have this amazing manga here. It's, again, I'm a big shoujo fan, so it's a shoujo manga, but it is called Daytime Shooting Star. I have been following this manga before it got the physical release, back over on just websites that I like read on. It's been finished for a while. They just recently decided to finally get a physical out. She actually has another one. It's called Lonely Planet, which is also really good. I cannot recommend this enough. This is a really, really good shoujo. As I explained before, I've read a lot of shoujo mangas. I'm a freak for shoujo mangas, and this one actually changes the formula. So if you are expecting the formula to be exactly like every other shoujo manga, this one will break it. It kind of starts off like it's a very typical formula. Boy meets girl, girl meets boy, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty much just a very simple story. Like, a countryside girl she starts living in the city. I forget what the reasoning is, but she starts living in the city. She bumps into a guy, and he's actually her teacher. And it kind of starts off that way. And trust me, I'm not big into the whole teacher-student thing. And that's actually what kind of turned me off from this. But I kept reading it because there's other things that were happening that just kept me engrossed. And I'm telling you, it gets better. It gets better. This really builds, and in ways that you don't expect things to build. I'm telling you, it shuts down some really typical shoujo tropes that you expect to happen. This one, and by the way, the art style, I don't know if you guys can see that very well. I love the art style. There's just something about the way the art style of this manga in particular that I just really enjoy. It's a little different. It's got like kind of a different feel for it, and I can't exactly explain it into words, but I just really like the way this is drawn, the way the guys look, the way the girls look, just everything about it just has a really nice feel. And her other manga, which is Lonely Planet, has a similar touch, and that one's really different too, which is what I like. Mika Nanamari, who created this, just kind of really took a different approach to a typical shoujo mangas, and I appreciate it. I feel like there isn't enough shoujo stuff out there in the world. A lot of people just prefer all the action and aggression and serious type of stuff, and people just, sometimes it's just nice to read like chill stuff like this. And even though that's not really that chill, they still kind of get you the heartstrings. Like you just literally feel like your heart is just being pulled out sometimes. But anyway, please, if you read it, tell me how you feel and all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll try to do a different angle in the future, something different than how I currently have it. I like this angle and all, but I'd actually prefer a different, more personal approach. I want like the whole screen to be me, not just, you know, like a portion of it. But other than that, guys, in the future we'll do more, and I'll see you guys next month for this series. Other than that, guys, peace out. That's Vidania. Bye.